how do I motivate myself to get started? Motivation is a terrible energy to ever rely on, simply by the fact that it's a fleeting energy, right? What is, however, important for you to know before I even start deconstructing motivation is you got to realize that here's a fact about life. We are more afraid of the solution than we are at the problem. We're more afraid of the solution than we are of the actual problem. Now, what does that really mean? Think about how true this really is. Anytime we often get problems in our life, notice what our mind begins to create is called a coping mechanism. True or true? As soon as perhaps you even feel a pain in the body, our natural instinctive reaction isn't to go find the solution. Our instinctive reaction is to find a way of coping with that problem. So if you got an ache in your shoulder, maybe you'll start to try and sleep a little bit differently, not on that same shoulder. That way you can get rid of some of that pain. We begin to cope with that pain. True or true? The problem with a coping mechanism is what? What's the problem with just trying to cope with your problems? What's the problem? Let me know. This is a question. What's the problem with you trying to always cope with your problem versus you trying to break through them? Well, as the name suggests, coping, you're not solving the problem. You're just coping with it. So understand this. Your problem isn't your problem. Your problem is coping with the problem. That's your issue. So why do we human beings cope with our problems? It's because we are designed to not change. Think about this. Change is scary. Change marks a new beginning in your mind, your body. So therefore, we'll come up with coping mechanisms to prevent change, of which your coping mechanism is I need motivation to get started. If we wait until we're motivated until we do anything in life, we'll be waiting for a huge chunk of our life. But this has now become your coping mechanism. Just understand this. But it is not your fault. Why that is your coping mechanism. Why you gotta feel good to do something good. If you're unaware, today's world, we have kind of brainwashed ourselves pretty well, whereby something good, which was positive thinking, has now become pretty toxic. It has become toxic. Why? Because we have now overly emphasized the need to feel good. But we don't realize this. Just because you feel good doesn't mean you're gonna do something good. Just because you feel happy doesn't mean you're going to create a happy life, by the way. Some people have murdered each other in the name of love. So-called positive emotion. How many of you are awake? Vice versa, just because you lack motivation doesn't mean you have to do something terrible, right? Just because you feel bad doesn't mean you have to do something bad. You can do something that will uplift you, make you great. Better instead of bitter. That's the choice you make. So understand this. Yes, it's true. You cannot control sometimes what emotions you feel, but you can definitely control how you respond back to the emotions you feel. Yes or no? Understand the ocean, yes, is in your mind, is in your body. Emotions is like the ocean. Some of us, when the waves come and it's a little bit choppier compared to usual, we drown. We drown in the waves. But some of us, we learn to sail the ocean better, right? We learn to sail even when the storms are coming. We learn to get to our destination. That's called life mastery. So for you to actually get to that place is you've got to remember this. Don't focus on the entire staircase. Just focus on the next step. Focus on the next step. Never say to yourself, Tim, let me do it. No, you trigger your mind in a negative way. I'm sorry, Nike, but that's a suckish slogan, right? Don't do it. Just say, let me just get started. And notice how you feel different. Let me just get started versus let me do it. How many of you have noticed difference, by the way? All you got to do is just take that step. That's it. And provided you take that step, of which in LMA is step 1, week 1, you're now in forward momentum. Remind yourself, speed doesn't matter as long as you're facing the right direction. Yes or no? As long as you're going the right way, it really doesn't matter. Even if it's millimeter of change today, it compounds. You're in a different place by the end of this year. Think about this. A penny that's doubling every single year by the end of 31 days is worth over $10 million. Kind of like you committing to just doing a little baby step, 1 minute of LMA every day. Eventually, you're in a totally different place. So don't wait until you feel good to do something good. Do it now so you feel good afterwards. That's the key here.